So, Craig, we had a highly contentious VAR decision the other day in Celtic's Champions League group stage match with Atletico Madrid. Daizen Maeda initially shown a booking for a challenge on Mario Hermosa. However, the referee then went to the monitor and decided that Maeda was red carded. What did you make of this decision?
I didn't agree with it, I have to say. I thought it was quite a harsh red card decision. To me, it was one where, had the referee initially given a red, you would have went, I can see where he's coming from, and it wouldn't have been overturned. But when he's given the yellow on the park, and there were two officials that were both quite close to it, because the assistant, it was kind of nearly assistant as well, had a reasonable view of it, I don't think there was enough in it to overturn. So I was really surprised. I don't know if I should have been surprised, because UEFA competitions in general, the bar for getting a red card is certainly much lower for these types of tackles. But I personally thought it was. I don't think personally it was a red card. They obviously show the point of contact, which is one of the things VR is supposed to do, is to present the point of contact to the referee, and that's the only time they can use still or slow motion, is to just ascertain where he's hit him. And clearly where Maeda makes contact with Formoso is kind of with his stud showing to the shin. But what that didn't show, and what the referee watched live and on the replays, was like the context of that. His leg was loose. It wasn't like a firm leg. I don't know how you properly describe it, but it was like a dangling leg in the challenge. He didn't, because the wording in the laws of the game, one of the parts is any player who lunges at an opponent and challenging from the front, side, or behind using one or both legs with excessive force. I don't think he lunges, and I don't think there's excessive force, and I don't think it endangers the opponent. So I don't really see it as meeting any of the criteria for a red card. That's somewhat opinion based, but the fact that the decision on the park was a yellow, to me, it's not what VR is there for.
The thing that I kind of really took exception with is that I thought that Hermoso followed through on Maeda as well, and that if he hadn't have followed through with his leg as he was kind of kicking the ball, then he wouldn't have made contact. And Maeda was really more kind of putting his leg out there to block off an angle rather than to make contact with his opponent. What do you think to that?
Yeah. I think. He was. It's a challenge for the ball. It's certainly a foul. It's certainly a yellow card, because he is the one who gets beaten to the ball and does catch the opponent. But you're right that the force of the challenge mainly comes from him following through. Now, the follow through is natural in any challenge, because he's kicking the ball, so of course he's going to get, your leg doesn't stop as soon as you hit it, and that has to be taken into account by the tackling player as well. But I agree with you that the only reason it looks dangerous is because his leg comes through towards Maeda. Again, there are many circumstances where there's still a red card there. If Maeda's leg is straight on and kind of lunging at him, it doesn't matter who initiates the contact as such, because Maeda's the one who's put himself in a difficult position. What I do think is something that always gets taken into account by referees is, see, when a player's like hearing about like a blue ass fly chasing after the ball and then makes a foul, I always think those end up being like more likely to be considered reds, because it's like he's not in. It seems like he's not in control of his action. We know Daizen Maeda does just do that for 90 minutes, but that's always something that I think, when he's like making one challenge and then another challenge, it's where players start to lose control. But I personally didn't think that's what happened there.
Yeah, because my initial reaction when I watched the live, and when Maeda first made the challenge, and you've got the camera, the kind of main camera that's quite far away, I thought, oh, he's going to be in trouble here. But then it's one of those rare instances where a foul looks a lot better slowed down than
Yeah.
it like usually it kind of takes out a lot of the context, and I suppose it did for this one as well. But you're right, if the referee's taking account that, well, he went in a high speed and then he sees some of the other stuff that he's looking for, then I suppose that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Even though, like, I'm certainly with you, I'm probably even strongly don't believe it's a red card. But I suppose it was the final thing to ask, is this just another instance of a referee kind of using VR? It's supposed to be there to overturn clear and obvious errors, and this wasn't one.
Yeah, to me, that's exactly what it is. It's a decision that you could probably put 10 referees down in front of it, and you get 5 each way. And therefore, whatever the referee gives on the park is what should stick for me, because there's there's not enough there's not enough to say that's definitely a red. And there wouldn't have been enough for them to say that's definitely not a red either. So what you give on the park sticks unless it's like a blatant mistake, which it wasn't.
Hey, Craig, thank you.
No worries.